Does Cathie Wood know something we don't about Elon Musk? When I interviewed Cathie Wood in person, and I'll show you some clips here, when I interviewed her in person at my event in Vegas, thank you to all of those who came, Cathie Wood made it very clear that she stands with Elon. She stands for the compensation plan. She thought it was un-American for people to vote against the compensation plan. And when I pressed her on, but Cathie, why do you have Elon calling things like Dojo a long shot? Her answer was really interesting. Now, I'll show the context from the actual event, but we had more of a discussion outside of what was on camera as well, and it's entirely fair to make it very clear what Cathie's position here is. But first, let's listen to the clip.
And then, of course, you've got Tesla designing its own more special purpose chip.
Why do you think Elon called Dojo sort of a, if I remember the phrase correctly, it was sort of a high-risk, the phrase wasn't YOLO that he used, but it almost sounded like he was making a bet and he didn't think it had a lot of success in one of the prior earnings calls. Why do you think he would water down Dojo?
Just for reference, because the quote helps, the quote is, "And we're pursuing the dual path of NVIDIA and Dojo." This is from the Q4 earnings call with Tesla. Elon Musk is saying this. Quote, "But I would think of Dojo as a long shot. It's a long shot worth taking because the payoff is potentially very high. But it's not something that is a high probability. It's not like a sure thing at all. It's a high risk, high payoff program. Dojo is working and it's doing training jobs and we're scaling it up. And we have plans for Dojo 1.5, Dojo 2, Dojo 3, and whatnot. So I think it's got potential, but I can't emphasize enough. It's high risk, high payoff."
Why do you think he would water down Dojo?
Because he wanted NVIDIA's GPUs. No, honestly, that is what I think
It's a
happened.
manipulation. Oh, yeah, don't worry about Dojo. Give us your chips.
So if
He
you,
is a shyster.
if you
brilliant.
listen,
He's brilliant.
If you listen to the shareholder the shareholder meeting that Elon just had, he did say, he said he was ramping on Dojo, had all the admiration for NVIDIA, something like that, all the respect for NVIDIA. But, I think he thinks he can do this.
See, Cathie has this mindset that Elon Musk is playing 4D chess. He knows what he's doing. Okay, right now we need these H100s to get the fastest leg up on FSD. Then let's go all in on Dojo, making them think we're not a competitor and we're going to come slingshot past them in the future. Tesla could, quite interestingly, be one of the greatest chip competitors to NVIDIA. Now, a lot of people are like, how is that possible? NVIDIA's got CUDA and all this. Tesla has their own software suite as well. Their app, their vehicle software suite. So software is absolutely something you can build. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting that Tesla's coding stack is going to compete directly with CUDA, and it doesn't really need to, because what you need Dojo for are specific applications. And what I think is really incredible is, which I think a lot of folks forget, is that neither of them manufacture their own chips. Tesla doesn't manufacture their own chips. NVIDIA doesn't manufacture its own chips. They just design their own chips. NVIDIA is a really good chip designer and marketer. They're not a chip manufacturer. But what's interesting, and I've learned this from meeting for coffee, Martin V over from Tesla's investor relations group, when one company does something innovative and then they have someone else manufacture it, like a heat pump or an NVIDIA H100, the manufacturer learns, yeah, that's how we can do that. So then when somebody else calls, like Elon with Dojo, and says, I want to do something like that, or maybe even take it to the next level, they're like, yeah, we think we could do that. We learned how to do that from NVIDIA. I mean, we learned how to do that in our manufacturing experience. This is really interesting. And I think the moat of NVIDIA might be getting chopped away from other competitors much sooner than individuals think. Now, this isn't designed to be an anti-NVIDIA play, or video. I think I've been very clear that I think that NVIDIA is topped. I think that NVIDIA for me is something that I'm open to reducing in position size, which I've already reduced. And I'm more interested in increasing exposure to plays like, frankly, Amazon, Tesla, Apple for on-device AI. That's clear. But let's listen a little bit more to Cathie, because I asked Cathie then, okay, so if he's so good at 4D chess, why does he like, Trump essentially? Isn't Trump going to potentially be bad for electric vehicles? Yes, we know. Trump says that, Americans deserve a choice. They can choose electric or they could choose ICE, but Musk has also spent a lot of time bagging on electric vehicles. And Cathie's reaction, while limited, speaks volumes. Listen to it here.
What about, you mentioned that you think EVs, or you're projecting that EVs are going to be 75% of the market in 5 to 7 years. So what happens when you have, let's say, a Trump presidency who seems to be highly anti-EV?
So interesting to see Elon Musk and former President Trump cozying up to one another again, isn't it? And I actually think, if you think, in terms of Tesla becoming the marquee auto manufacturer here in the U.S., I think he'll rally around that. Trump he's very practical.
It's a great insight. I love how you have this view of Elon. He's doing that for a reason. He's not a knucklehead. He's doing it for. So why does he send all these political tweets? Do you have a rationalization for that?
I think Elon has learned that no publicity is bad publicity, and he's just out there effectively advertising himself and therefore his cars.
Brilliant answer. Thank you.
See, what you have is Cathie, who looks at Elon and says everything he's doing is for a reason. He's cozying up to Trump maybe because he thinks Trump is going to win. He's cozying up to NVIDIA while downplaying his own so he can get what he needs and then he can advance past. He's potentially yapping on social media the way he does because he knows it's cheap free advertising. People see a complaint article about Elon and they think, oh, yeah, he made all those Teslas. By the way, honey, we're in the market for a new car. Should we look at electric vehicles? All right, well, we may as well compare the Tesla to the others.
I think they get a lot of publicity. If people are thinking about an electric vehicle and are curious and want to compare vehicles, Tesla will sell itself.
Deal.
It's a very interesting point of view. And I don't know if I fully agree with all of it. I think it's potentially a little bit too bullish. I generally don't like to be, and I'm not saying that Cathie is, but I generally don't like to think that everyone is doing everything for the perfect reason and it's all just meant to be. That takes a lot of faith. I do think that people can flubber. I don't know. People can make a mistake.
Investing in Tesla, brilliant man, somewhat tormented, but in his own words, he even said, I shoot myself in the foot so often, I should invest in Kevlar boots. When he says something like that, I'm wondering, what kind of guardrails are there to protect us investors from his natural tendency? I mean, I love the man, but I'm kind of like, and Kevin, I think sometimes you're frustrated by some of the things he does as well. So I'm just kind of curious on your take.
Yeah, and I've had the privilege of meeting him and the team around him, which is really important. So I think, and Robin Denholm, chair. So learning about the people around him.
Robin's great. I met her at the shareholder meeting last year.
She is amazing, very solid, very objective, very, and so having met him, I feel like I know him in a way. He cares so much about humanity. It's a big weight on his shoulder to save us from ourselves environmentally. And, whether it's, prevent censorship or whatever, he is a very good person. And I realize he says crazy things and, he is a little Trump-like in some ways because what I say to our investors, I watch what he does from a technology point of view. He is so laser focused, more than any CEO. And the other thing he has going for him that I don't think very many CEOs have going is he's a maestro of the convergence among technologies that is taking place in this technology revolution. Robotaxis or autonomous taxi networks are the convergence of robots, energy storage, and AI. most people, when they think of a company like Tesla, they think of autos.
Sure.
He wasn't thinking that way at all. And I think he's capitalizing on, the convergence among technologies, and will continue to do so in a way that is going to surprise people, I think. So for my own, we have to, of course, do our due diligence and make sure that, that the management is strong and intact and has the right kind of incentives and all of that. I think a lot of what he has done and been rewarded for is this thought that no publicity is bad publicity. And so it gets everybody talking and up in arms, but he says what he really thinks.
Yeah, fair.
There's conviction there. So, again, we just have to, and we regularly have calls with the management team around more so than Elon. Right? But we do meet with Elon from time to time. I don't like to meet with CEOs too often, just because we need to keep objectivity, and really the business people around him, who are executing, have to have their leadership,
Like
and he's a
Martin,
real
maybe,
leader.
from Investor Relations. Martin, I know he just left, but
Yes.
he was always a good
Oh, he
person
was
as well.
wonderful.
The goal is to find folks who make fewer mistakes than others, and that when they make the mistakes that they do, they're smaller and not as bad. So I'm optimistic on Elon. I don't know that I'm as optimistic that Tesla's Dojo computers can hold a candle to NVIDIA, but I could see how they could do it, like that manufacturing insight I just gave you. I could see, this is going to be something I'm going to pay attention to a little bit more, because I almost fully wrote it off after that earnings call with Elon, and Cathie gave me the perspective to say, well, maybe don't go that far. Maybe it's all part of the plan. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Let's fingers crossed to Tesla over 200 and holding it this week. Thanks so much. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye and good luck.
Everyone, Cathie Wood.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Not advertise these things that you told us here. I feel like nobody else knows about this.
We'll try a little advertising and see how it goes.
Congratulations, man. You have done so much. People love you. People look up to you.
Kevin Paffrath there, financial analyst and YouTuber. Meet Kevin. Always great to get your take.
Even though I'm a licensed financial advisor, licensed real estate broker, and becoming a stockbroker, this video is not personalized advice for you. It is not tax, legal, or otherwise personalized advice tailored to you. This video provides generalized perspective, information, and commentary. Any third-party content I show shall not be deemed endorsed by me. This video is not and shall never be deemed reasonably sufficient information for the purposes of evaluating a security or investment decision. Any links or promoted products are either paid affiliations or products or services we may benefit from. I also personally operate an actively managed ETF. I may personally hold or otherwise hold long or short positions in various securities, potentially including those mentioned in this video. However, I have no relationship to any issuer other than HouseHack, nor am I presently acting as a market maker. Make sure if you're considering investing in HouseHack to always read the PPM at househack.com.